guys, it's me, Ariel, and I'm here with a story time, as you can see from the title. So if you see me glance away, I'm just looking at my notes because this story time is from a trip from over a year ago, and the trip was a week long, so I'm trying to remember everything in order for you guys. So last year I went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai with 3 other people. One was my best friend, the other was my brother, and then the guy was a mutual friend of my best friend and I. So we all went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai for a little over a week. Had a lot of fun. So first day was a travel day, a long travel day. It took about 15 hours or 14 and a half hours to get there. So pretty much spent the whole day on a flight, landed in Abu Dhabi. And because of the flight duration and how long it takes to get there, we ended up getting there the next day. So we landed on day 2 of our vacation. After that, we had to take a bus from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, which is only like an hour-long bus ride or whatever, so not that bad. Get to Dubai, and now we need a taxi to get to our hotel, and we're like, we don't see a taxi. We're trying to ask the people at the bus station to call a taxi. Thank goodness my brother had like Uber on his phone, and it had like a data plan, so we used that to get to the hotel. So get to the hotel, check in, change, like we waste no time, like we get ready. After that, we did like this walking food tour, and it was so funny because we got there and like everybody's introducing themselves. I'm like, oh, when'd you get here? People were like, a couple days ago, last week. And everybody's like, well, when'd y'all get here? And we're like, about 2 hours ago. Just touched down, like didn't waste any time with doing activities, just got here or whatever. So we started the food tour, and it was a really good tour. We made maybe like 3 or 4 stops. The first one, and I'll insert pictures, the first one was we went to a falafel stand or like shop or whatever you want to call it in like a local neighborhood. We saw how they made falafels. We got to eat some, obviously, and then we just sat down there and ate falafels and I think a couple other things. Then we walked to another spot where they made like pizza. It kind of looked like pizza, but they don't call it pizza, obviously. So we saw that get made, and it was really cool how he made it. Like, he made the crust so thin without breaking it. Like, I don't even understand. And they work in like this real stone oven, and like the place was very small, so it was super hot in there, and the chef is in like the full like long sleeve chef coat, and like he's making it happen. And I couldn't do it, but he was a pro and he did like really well. So we ate there. Then after that, we had like a traditional dinner where you sit on the floor. It's family style, and that was so good. Like, we had so much food, and everybody was just like talking and getting along with each other, and we were just learning about the culture and the history and just eating great food. But then that wasn't it. After that, we went to a dessert shop where they had several different desserts that we got to try. And after this food tour was so cute because everybody got presented like a certificate of like completing the tour, and it just made you feel special, and I felt like it was just like a nice little touch to the tour. So that was our first day there. So we were on the food tour for like a couple hours, had a good first day, like no real issues, everything was pretty good. Then the next day we wake up, get ready, go downstairs, about to leave the hotel, and there's a sandstorm, and we're like, okay, we don't know what to do. It's so hazy outside. It's sand blowing everywhere. Visibility is not 100%. Like, we just didn't know what to do, but everybody was like business as usual. People walking down the street, driving, like clearly they're used to this. So we're like, okay, like I guess we're just gonna go like business as usual in a sandstorm. Get outside, and it really wasn't as bad as it looks. Like, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like breathing in sand, and my throat's gonna hurt, and it's gonna be in my eyes, and I'm barely gonna be able to see. But honestly, once you got out there, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't ideal. Like, sand was all in my hair and my eyebrows and my eyelashes and my nose. Like, sand was everywhere, but it wasn't uncomfortable being outside, so that was good. So we just did touring that day. We were supposed to do a hot air balloon ride at like 4 or 5 in the morning, but because of the sandstorm, it got canceled. So we didn't get to do it, and there wasn't another day where we could fit that in or whatever, because we only spent the first half of the trip in Dubai and then the second half of the trip in Abu Dhabi, and we were supposed to do the hot air balloon in Dubai. So we didn't get to do that, unfortunately. And then things just kept happening. So we didn't get to do the hot air balloon tour, and then we were supposed to do this like ATV desert dune buggy kind of like package deal thing that we had booked before we got there. The company never called to reconfirm. They never emailed. We just couldn't get in touch with them, and we're like, okay. Finally, we heard from them like maybe 30 minutes before we were supposed to get picked up and go, and they're like, oh, they can't do it because of the sand. And we're like, but it wasn't even, by this point it was like hours later, afternoon time, it wasn't even as sandy anymore. So we're like, okay. So we're all kind of disappointed, like 30 minutes beforehand, and you're just now saying you can't do it, and the sandstorm is not even happening anymore. Like, we don't understand. So like, okay. So my best friend talked to concierge, and we were able to book another tour right then and there. I think we got picked up within like an hour. We drove like an hour to get to like the desert part where the activities were going to be, even though it's sand everywhere. But we drove out to this particular area where it was going to be, and we had a lot of fun. And first we started off with dune buggying or dune bashing. I forgot what it's called, but basically you're in like a Jeep type car or vehicle, and just imagine like mounds and mounds of sand, like mini mountains of sand, and you just drive reckless and you just drive crazy. And it's not for a person that has motion sickness, unless you can take something or do something that would mitigate your motion sickness. But it's like a very rough ride, but it was a lot of fun. Obviously we didn't drive. There was like a professional driver that does the driving, so that was cool. That was a lot of fun. And then after that we got to do these ATV rides, which probably looking back probably shouldn't have did. It was kind of sketchy. I will admit it was kind of sketchy. There was no safety briefing. There was no helmets. There was no gear. There was barely a tutorial. It was just kind of like get on and go and follow the staff member as he like drives down these sand dunes. So we get on, we're like all excited to ride the ATVs. And then he starts going up these tall like sand dunes. And I'll insert this video if I can find it, a clip if I can find it. But we go to these tall sand dunes. He's just like, all right, come on. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get down this hill? Like, I get to the edge and like you're just feeling like you're looking straight down. And I'm like, I'm scared. So he comes up, he grabs the handle of like my ATV and just kind of like eases me off the edge. There's no like, oh, you can go around. Oh, it's okay. Like, we'll come back up. Like, we'll wait, or like, you don't have to do this. It's like, no, here you go, go. And I'm just like freaking out, like screaming. After the first one, it wasn't as scary, because it's kind of like, you know what to expect, you know how it feels, you have taught yourself what to do. So it wasn't as scary anymore, but I was definitely caught off guard, like, wait, sir, wait, you're just gonna just push me over? Like, oh my goodness. So yeah, so that was that. After that, we rode some camels, which was cool. Actually riding them was easy breezy, like not scary. But when you're getting ready to get off, like, it just caught me so off guard. So obviously camels have 4 legs, and they don't just sit down or like bend all the legs at once. They bend the front 2 first. So this is like their legs straight, and then they bend them so they're like, now they're on their knees, but their back legs are still straight. So you're on like this 45-degree angle, feeling like you're just about to flip off the front of this camel. And there was like no warning. I was just like, oh my goodness, holding on for dear life, thinking I was about to die or just flip off this camel and have a concussion. But held on tight, and that didn't happen. After that, They had like these little seating areas set on the ground with like rugs and like pillows and stuff to make it comfortable. And then we had like dinner, and then they had dancers, like traditional dancers perform, and then they had a henna station and all sorts of things. And they had hookah as well. So that ended like the kind of desert part, and it was real chill. It was real fun. We just all ate. I got henna done, or my best friend and I both got henna done. And we just chilled out and just relaxed until it was time to go. After that, they rounded everybody up. We got back in the vehicles and they dropped us back off at our hotel. Then later that night, we like went out because Bobby Valentino was randomly in Dubai. So we went to the club that he was going to be like at, or like performing at. So we get there, everything's cool. I don't remember any issues with getting there or getting in or anything. Everything was fine. We got a table or like bottle service, and if you're not familiar with that, basically you're paying to have your own booth or table or whatever the setup is at that particular club, and then they bring out whatever type of bottle of alcohol you purchase along with mixers and things like that. So that's what we did at the club, and we had fun, had a good time, like no issues, everything was good. Ended the night, went back to the hotel, went to sleep. The next day we do this hop on hop off tour, bus tour. Or actually it wasn't a hop on hop off, you stayed on a bus, but it was like one of those double-decker bus tours, and it was a lot of fun. We got to see a lot of the popular sites and everything, and it was good. So we did that, and then things got interesting. We got to like this beach area, and the bus is like driving through this parking lot. This is just like a part of the route, so we're like driving through this parking lot, and there's like parking rage, parking war situation happening, and I'll insert a picture and I'll blur it out everybody's faces because I just, you know, it's a small world. Who knows who's watching this video? I don't want to get pulled into the conflict that didn't even involve me. But so yeah, so there's minimal parking. I think it was like peak time to be going to the beach, so it was really crowded. So it's like once you find a spot, you better whip in and get it, or you're not going to get it. So there's one guy that was like blocking the spot, but he was perpendicular to it, and then there was another guy facing the spot where he could just pull right in if this guy wasn't there. But this guy didn't want to move because he wanted to get the spot, but he couldn't get the spot unless this guy moved. So it was crazy. Our bus driver ended up having to get off the bus and mitigate the situation so that the bus could get by, because they were holding up the traffic in this parking lot. So yeah, that was interesting. I was like, oh, parking wars in Dubai at the beach, it's getting real. So anyways, that tour, bus tour, is maybe like 2 hours long, and we went like a bunch of different places along the tour, like the famous sites you would see, like the tourist sites or whatever. So we did that. We also went to the top of the tallest building in the world, called the Burj Khalifa, or they kind of roll like the UR part of it. I can't like roll my tongue, but it's like Burj Khalifa. But yeah, I'm probably pronouncing that so wrong. But yeah, so we went to the top of that, and that was nice. You get to see like the view of like all of Dubai. You got to see everything from the very top. Or like the viewing deck, not the very top, but the viewing deck, which was really high up. And then when you leave out, you see like, you kind of walk through kind of like a museum type of thing, where you see like kind of all the history and how long it takes to build, and just kind of like all the background on the building. That was nice. When you do look out, it's like literally all sand and then just like nice buildings. It's just so weird. It's just like sand, nice buildings, that's it. Like, it's pretty simple. So that was cool. That was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. Because Dubai is pretty young place in the sense of like a lot of the buildings and things there are like very new. So yeah, that was that. We also went to the Dubai Mall. We didn't like go shopping. I think we just went through I think somebody needed a charger or something. I don't remember, but we just like stopped in to get that one particular thing. And that was it. We also went to the beach for a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. And then they have, at the Dubai Mall, they have these like fountain shows. So if you've ever been to Las Vegas and the Bellagio, where they have like the water fountains like spraying out to music, that's what we saw at the Dubai Mall too. So that was cool. That was nice. It was longer than I expected. And I'll probably insert a picture or a video or something like that. But yeah, I did that. Went to the Dubai Museum for a little bit. So like a bunch of just touristy things and stopping here, stopping there. Then by now it's day 5. Yeah, day 5, because day 1 was all travel. We landed on day 2 and did the food tour. Day 3 was like the sandstorm and ATV and bus tour and Bobby Valentino at the club. Day 4 was the Burj Khalifa and the mall and the fountains. And then day 5, we rented a private yacht. So that was really cool and it was really fun. We did it with some people that we knew were gonna already be there at the same time. And we did it for a couple hours and just had the yacht, the boat all to ourselves. So we were just playing music, swimming, just hanging out, chilling. It was a nice time. So we did that. And that was actually the day we were supposed to leave Dubai to go to Abu Dhabi for the second half of the trip. But one of the girls and like her friends that were on the boat with us, really nice, and they let us stay in Dubai at their place an extra night, which was very generous of them, because it was 4 of us. So it was 4 of us and I think 4 of them. So it's like we doubled the occupancy count by staying with them that night. But everybody still wanted to go to the Dubai Miracle Garden, which we hadn't had a chance to do yet. And we wanted to go to like this really popular club or like party that everybody talked about. And it only happened that day in Dubai. So we're like, oh snap, like, okay, this is a good opportunity for us to stay. So we stayed. After the boat trip, we went to the Dubai Miracle Gardens, which was beautiful. I've never seen a garden like that before, ever. So that was really cool. And then later that night, we all got ready to go to this party. That's when things got even more interesting. So we get there and we're trying to get in, and like the bouncers are like, no, we're not letting anybody else in. It's to capacity and this and that, and every reason why they weren't letting people in, aka just us. So like they're saying they're not letting anybody else in, but people were still going in. We sat outside that club for so long. I don't even remember why we stayed, why we chose to wait. I think it was just kind of like the hype was built up around it. We had heard so many things. We're like, when is the next time we're going to be in Dubai on this night to be able to go to this particular venue and this party? So we're like, we'll just wait it out. We were outside for at least 30 to 45 minutes. By then the group had kind of dwindled down. I think people were like, okay, we're just gonna leave, we're not gonna get in, whatever. So by this time it had just went back down to like our core 4, me and the 3 other people I came with. And then finally one of the ladies was like, oh, it's to capacity unless you have a table or like buying a table. So we're like, okay, well, let's just say we're gonna buy a table and do bottle service and then we'll get in. So we're like, okay, so we say that. We get in, she's leading us up the stairs into the venue or whatever, and then she just kind of like disappears. So we're like, okay, well, I mean, if she's not gonna like make us get a table and buy bottle service and she just disappeared, then whatever, we're just gonna keep on walking and just go all the way into like the party area. We go in and we're like, okay, cool, we're in here, no worries, everything's good. The party's live, like the music is really good. Everybody is clearly just having a good time, enjoying themselves. So it's like a really good atmosphere. Like everybody's just with their friends having fun, like no issues. And the venue was really nice too. So we're walking. I don't remember where my brother and our guy friend went. Maybe they were going to the bar or something. I don't know. But at this point, it was just my best friend and I. And we're walking. And this lady comes up to us and she's like, hey, do y'all have a table? And we're like, oh snap. Like, maybe the lady that brought us in was like, they're supposed to be getting a table. Like, we didn't know. We just felt guilty because they're like, no. So my best friend's like, no, we don't have a table. And she's like, oh, well, y'all want to come to our table? We was like, oh, yeah, sure. So we go to this girl's table, and it's her girlfriend and her guy friend, and we're just all having a good time. They're being really nice to us. They're letting us drink some of their bottles. Like, we're just all having fun, clicking, dancing, just a good time. So we're like, okay, this worked out. Everything's good. Fast forward a couple hours and the party's over. So we're leaving, and the people that were at the table that we got to sit at are asking us to come to like this after party. And I do quotes because it was just at their apartment or wherever they were staying. It wasn't like an official after party. So we're like, well, we're thinking to ourselves, like, we just met them. We're just ready to go back. Like, we actually have to go to Abu Dhabi tomorrow. Like, we can't stay at these people's place another night. So we're just like, no, thank you. Like, we have fun, but like, we're not going to go back. They are adamant about getting us to go to this after party. Long story short, we ended up not going, obviously. Met back up with my brother and our guy friend, went back to our hotels, called it a night. And the guy that was at the table that we got to sit at still hits my friend up to this day, like asking her to come out there, or like he'll fly her out there, like all these different types of things. It was very interesting, to say the least. So the next day, we leave Dubai. We take a taxi to our hotel in Abu Dhabi, which I was surprised we were even able to get a taxi to drive us that far, because it was like a solid hour with no traffic to get there. So we get there, we split the cab ride, and at this point we just want to kind of like relax and unwind, because we had already been partying twice. We had real ATVs, we had did a walking tour, we had did a lot of activities in a short period of time. So we got there and we were just on chill mode. We just relaxed at the hotel on the beach. I had this mint lemonade, which was so good, like so good. Like, I feel like you're not drinking lemonade the right way unless you put mint in it. Like, that's how I feel. So we had that and we were just chilling at the hotel. And it was cool. And then we did some sightseeing. We went to like this really famous mosque. I'll insert the picture in the name. It was beautiful. So we did that. And it was just really chilling when we went to Abu Dhabi. Like, it was just more of like the relaxing part of the trip before we like came back to the US and went back to work. So the main thing we really did there was go to the mosque. All the other days we just hung out at the hotel or like went out to eat, but nothing big, nothing major, just relax. And then on our last day, which was day 9 of the trip, we had super early flights. The flight was at 3:40 in the morning, which basically meant you didn't really go to sleep the night before, because we had to be at the airport, you know, in time to check our bags and take the flight and everything. So I took the flight back, made it back to the US with no issues. It was a non-stop flight from Abu Dhabi, which was nice. Landed, and that was the end of the trip. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my story about the trip. Let me know if you want more videos about my vacations. I can talk about my Belize trip or Barbados, or when I went to Thailand or Italy, or even some domestic trips here in the US. So just let me know if you like these type of videos. If you have any questions about this trip, or want any tips or any more details, things that maybe I didn't mention but you're curious about, just leave a comment or question in the comment box and I'll reply back to you and let you know. Thanks. Bye.